If you've spent any time driving through the ridges of Blair or Cambria County, you know that our mountains aren't jagged peaks. They are these long, steady inclines, ridges that just keep coming. In the mid 1800s, those ridges were a wall for the railroad. A steam engine that was trying to go straight up the Allegheny front would simply stall. The grade was just too much for the engine to handle. I think a lot of us feel that way right now about AI. We aren't hitting a wall, we're hitting a grade that feels relentless. We're feeling the friction of our busy schedules, the weight of change. It feels like it's constantly pulling us backwards. At the IU8, we realized we didn't need a faster engine or a stronger engine. We needed a better path. We needed to engineer the curve ahead. This is the Curve Ahead podcast, a podcast where teachers and admins and pretty much anyone else who are trying to figure out what AI means for their classrooms, their students, and their own practice.
We are Tracy and Matt, and we work with schools across Blair County, Cambria County, Somerset County, and Bedford County. We are not here to sell you on AI as a magic solution. And we're definitely not here to scare you into thinking it'll replace teachers, because that's not going to happen.
That is not going to happen for most teachers. No, I'm just kidding. No.
For many reasons.
For many reasons, yes. We are actually here to help you think through it. And that's where we've got a framework to help.
Some of you are excited. Some of you are excited and don't know where to start. Some of you are already using AI, and we know you AI champions. Thank you very much. And you're wondering, are we doing it right? And some of you flat out are just probably overwhelmed with all of it. It's AI a lot, and you probably just are confused and aren't sure what part you should use and what you shouldn't.
Well, right now, guidance, frameworks, policies, they're all over the place.
All over the
so
place.
Constantly teachers are looking for, what do I do? How does this look, in my practice? I say, what do I do? It reminds me of Jennifer Lawrence. She gets up there with the award. What do I do?
Oh.
What do you mean? What do I do? She's like, what do I do? I feel like that's where most teachers are.
Yes, absolutely.
Is the, what do I do? So that's why we're here to introduce the Curve framework and this podcast. So the whole purpose of this podcast is to not give people a set of rules, but sort of a way of thinking about AI and with AI.
Matt's going to make it make sense.
Yes, I will do my best. I will do my best. So let's just, what's the word? Let's delve into this framework here. And let's take a look at it piece by piece. So just a short backstory on where this Curve framework came from. I play with AI a lot. People who know me.
No.
People who know me, I'm obsessed is the word I believe they would use. Over the summer of 2023, my wife literally told me I would rather listen to a story about grass growing than listen to you talk about AI for one more second.
I feel you.
Yeah. So a lot of people do now because I started a TikTok at Mr. K all day. So come find me. I also got very active on LinkedIn as well. So if my wife wasn't going to listen to me, I was going to share it out with as many people as possible. So that's kind of how I started this AI journey and how I became the person that I am here today, the emerging technology and project specialist, brand new job here at the IU8. So happy to have it. Happy to be here. Happy to share my experience with everybody.
Matt, I will say one of the things that I have learned from you in the short time you've been here is that you do the research when it comes to AI. You know what you're talking about most of the time.
Most of the time.
Because you do the research. And that's one thing I like learning about AI from you, because I know that there's some evidence-based research behind what you're telling me.
Well, and that's part of the whole thing here, especially now that I have this job. I can't go around just espousing opinions anymore.
No.
Like now everything needs to be official. And what's nice is there is plenty of research out there about AI because a lot of people want to know about it. So some of the research that went into this Curve framework that we're going to talk about today is the OECD AI Literacy Framework, which is out of the European Union. And it was really a staple because it kind of moved people through the spaces of working with AI as a teammate, which is really where we should be shifting the conversation now. And so that's why it kind of garnered a lot of popularity as being a really good, framework, a good way of thinking about things. And I pulled this also from UNESCO. UNESCO is, worldwide. They pull data, research, and they essentially were one of the first ones to set up competencies. These are things that teachers should be able to do with the AI. They also created student competencies as well. So these are things students should be able to do with AI and how they should tackle that. So I used AI, no surprise, to synthesize those things, all the research and things that I liked, and kind of put them together in a package for Central Pennsylvania. It's kind of like a regional specific, like how does this apply to our region and the things that we face here specifically in our region. So that's how the curve was born. So it was born with the help of AI.
So Matt, curious
about
that. This curve framework.
Oh,
could you share a little more?
That is so awesome that you are curious about the curve framework, because the curiosity is actually what the C stands for in the curve framework. And nice segue. Great job. So C stands for curiosity. So again, this whole thing is how we should be thinking about AI, how we should be approaching our use of AI, how students, admins, and anyone should be approaching their use of AI. So C is for curiosity. And all that is about is just approaching it with a sense of exploration and not fear. And really, that's all we're trying to get out of people, is asking the right questions. And I like to reference Jurassic Park quite a bit when I do this, because Dr. Ian Malcolm, one of his famous scenes in Jurassic Park when they're talking about the science behind the dinosaurs, it was like you got so caught up in the fact that you could do this and, bring dinosaurs back to life. You never stop to think about if you should. And so the curiosity layer is all about the should I, okay? So there is a could I component, so could AI do this? And as I'm sure you've seen in the last couple months, could AI do this? The answer is increasingly yes, with lots of things, slide decks, infographics, the audio podcasts from Notebook LM, things like that people, it still blows people away when they see that AI can do these things. So the more of the curiosity should be, should we?
Right.
Okay, so what should we be offloading to AI? And we're still trying to answer these questions. Again, this is just a guiding, helping you think about it. Okay, this isn't this is how you should do it. This is just how you should think about it. So the next part is U for understanding. And this is where we used to be at a point where it was, we need to know how AI and machine learning works, and we need to know the underpinnings of the whole system. But frankly, anymore, that doesn't really matter as much. So
no, you don't need to know all of that. You do need to know some things. For example, if you're using it with students, you need to know what data it collects.
Mm-hmm.
You need to understand some limitations that it might have, right?
Absolutely.
Do you need to be an expert in what is it? I don't even know I don't even know the acronym.
LLMs.
LLM?
Yeah.
Do you need to be an expert in LLMs?
No. LLMs, neural networks, deep learning. Yeah, no, these are all the buzzwords and terms for AI.
Yeah.
You don't really need to know all that. You just need to have a basic understanding. And I think you hit on the big one, the understanding of what happens to my conversation when I have a conversation with AI. And so here's your first little understanding tidbit for the audience out there. In case you didn't know, when you have a conversation with the free version of ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, which are all versions of LLMs, which stands for large language model.
Thank you.
Since this is built into the understanding piece. When you have those conversations, your conversation that you have and anything that you put in there actually gets added into the overall training data for the model.
Oh, okay.
So every time you have a conversation with a model, your conversation is helping to train the model to get better.
Nice.
So if you think about this, the fact that I think the last piece of data I looked at was there are something like, we'll just round it and say, 100 million conversations a day with ChatGPT. every one of those conversations that have the option turned on, because you can turn the option off, but
Yeah.
every one of those conversations that have that option on, the AI is learning and training on those conversations. So it's getting better and better every single time. So be careful what you put in there. You know, a lot of teachers have made mistakes with that, you know, putting kids' names, class lists, things like that in there. But again, this comes from this is why the understanding part is so important, because a lot of people
Yeah.
just didn't know. You know, we're at a gap here where there's not a lot of training and there's not a lot of guidance on where to go for training. And that's something we're hoping to, you know, kind of fill that gap, especially here in our region, you know, with this podcast as part of it, but also the trainings that we do for the schools and the work that we do with the schools.
Well, I think one thing to consider too is that it's still very young. AI has only been around for 3 years, 3 years.
Let me see.
October 2023, I believe, is when 22.
22.
Oh, okay, so we're going on 4 years, but it really hit like a wave.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
Um,
no, you're not wrong. And part of the understanding piece that messes with people is that they still think that AI is the same AI that we had last year.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
and
Totally different.
I'm going to steal this line. This comes from a famous professor, Ethan Mollick, who's a leading voice on AI. But he essentially said that the tools that we're using right now are the worst that they will ever be.
Oh, that makes sense.
So every video, image generation tool, slide deck creator, like LLM,
Yep.
they are all the worst they will ever be right now.
That gives me something to look forward to.
So, or not, you know,
Well, yeah.
depending on who you talk to. But which leads us to the next part of the curve framework, which is reflection. So the R stands for reflection. And this is where, you know, we pause to consider the consequences. So we have like ethical, practical, and equity related consequences. I think by now a lot of people have understood the idea of bias existing in these AI systems, and the systems themselves acknowledged it and they're trying to work on fixing it, but we're still at a point. Well, we were at a point a while ago with the image generators. If you asked it to generate an image of a teacher, you were getting a white female.
And what about a doctor?
Yeah, a doctor was a white male pretty much every single time.
Right.
With 6 fingers, right, you know, and a couple weird warped pieces somewhere along the way. But again, you know, we're at a point now where we have I wouldn't say most, but we have quite a few of videos on social media now are AI generated. And if they are not labeled as such, you have a lot of people that are confused, right? There is a sense here, and how this ties into our conversation with reflection is that there's a sense here with our students and with our teachers and with everybody. We're talking about this in education. The earlier we can sit and have these conversations and reflect on the good and the bad and the ugly, as I call it, the good, the bad, and the ugly of AI, the better off that our future is going to be, with our students, hopefully, you know, being the ones who shape this for the future.
Absolutely.
And so if they're already able to reflect on, you know, is this a net good or net bad? Like if they're already able to reflect on those things, then that's going to be a net positive for us going forward. So I think that's the underlying goal of everything we do at the IU8 and just as educators in general. Everything we do is for the students. So all of this stuff that we're talking about is for their benefit too, not just for us teachers.
Well, and as we talk about reflection, I think it's important to also remember that these same kinds of conversations were being had when TVs were starting to be used to show movies in school,
Right.
or when Google came out in 1998. You know, I'm going to date myself here. The calculator was cheating.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it's important to recognize that AI is just that next thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't need to, you know, make a big, huge deal of it. It will just integrate just like everything else in technology has over like the last couple of years.
Yes. And I used to be in the boat, especially when I was on social media and on TikTok more regularly, but I used to be in the boat of like, we need to be doing this now. We need to be doing this now. And I really have taken a step back, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to take a step back and reflect.
Absolutely.
It's okay to take a step back and reflect and to be like, what exactly do we want to accomplish here? You know, so that's where reflection takes us. And our next part, tying into pretty much everything we do is for the students. Our next part is voice. So the V in curve stands for voice. And this is kind of a twofold thing. So voice is when you're making policies or, guidance or frameworks for your school, when you're trying to set up what your school's going to do. The voice piece really means, are you including everybody's voice, everybody's stake, everybody who is a stakeholder? Are you including their voice in that conversation? Are you including parents? Are you including your counselors? Are you including your students?
I think that's a really important one, that including your students.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
at this point, there's a lot of mixed feelings here of, oh, the students just want to use it for this. But I think you and I both know, and we've seen enough in classrooms to realize that kids surprise the heck out of you.
hmm
And if you give them a chance, they can actually do some pretty amazing things. And
Absolutely.
I want to tie the student voice to something I just found recently. So the other part of my job, I run our student programs here at the IU8, and one of them is First Lego League, which is a really cool program. Your school should totally go sign up and come to our event. Anyway, so
Shameless plug.
shameless plug. Organic shameless plug. No.
I
So,
like it.
but the reason this is a big deal is because Lego Education just released a AI and computer science curriculum for elementary school for kindergarten through 8th grade.
Wow.
And how they came about building it was they actually took a group, I think it was just a group of 12 students. So 12 students from around the country, and they put them in a room and they just started talking about AI. And they came up with ideas on what is important or what they want to know. Lego used the feedback from this session to create their massive survey that they used all over the country to put this program together.
Wow.
And so the students were part of building the ground layer. The students had a say in what goes in this program. And of course, and some might say this is a little biased because it's from Lego and Lego's doing this, but they found in their research that one of the things that teachers missed and needed was there was no hands-on stuff to do. When you teach computer science and AI stuff, it's so much is digital, so much is on the computer. And so teachers were like, it'd be really nice to have a hands-on component. And so Lego was like,
Lego answered the call.
yeah. Well, Lego, hands-on. I don't know. Have we been doing anything hands-on for the last, 50 years, 60? I don't know how long Lego's been around, but so they stepped in.
Yeah.
And it seems to be like it's going to be a pretty good program. Time will tell. We'll see. But that's just an idea right there of how you get student voice in it. Let them make the questions. Let them be a part of the process. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's important to remember also that these are the same kids that have been talking to Siri and Alexa, who aren't LLMs, but they're definitely AI since they were born. It's always been a thing for them. And let's face it, the kids have always been more advanced than us at technology because they're more curious and they're not afraid to make a mistake with it.
That is very true, especially the not afraid to make a mistake part. So that is very true. And also the not afraid to make a mistake part kind of leads into our last one, which is empowerment.
They feel very empowered. Yeah.
I've seen a lot just anecdotally from, when I was in the classroom, the kids are in a weird space. And I actually think a lot of teachers are in a weird space now too. And even just in a recent meeting with our own, company internally, people are in a weird space because they're not really sure what's good and bad, AI use. Am I allowed to do this? Am I allowed to do that? So people are still very hesitant and unsure.
Yes, very much so.
But part of this empowerment part of AI is that right now, AI, where it's at currently, again, worst version we're ever going to see, where it's at currently, you can build apps, you can build programs, and kids can do it. There are multiple stories. If you just do a quick Google search, but there are multiple stories of CEOs that have created companies before they graduated high school.
Yep.
The one that's I feel bad. I can't remember his name, but he had a simple idea, which was if someone uploads a picture of their plate, okay, the AI will analyze every ingredient that's on the plate and it will determine the amount of calories that are on the plate. Okay. So he had that was his idea. Was like,
Wow.
it'd be really cool if people could get nutrition information just from like a snap of a picture. So he messed around with it. He created it before he graduated high school.
Wow.
And it was a multi-million-dollar company.
I went in on that.
So that's the empowerment piece here, is that I think a lot of people miss and take for granted when we, ban it or when we like throttle the use of it. But I also understand the challenge.
Yes. I would like to say real quick, though, you and I just had the pleasure of judging the invention convention at Pete and C.
Mhm.
And I said before, one of the inventions I got to judge, they had created an app that to go with their invention, and it had data in it. It was, and I said, "What grade are you in?" Thinking they were like 11th,
Mm-hmm.
8th grade.
8th grade. Yeah.
8th grade, and they had included an app in their invention.
Yeah. Like
So it's happening. It's out there.
Yeah, like it's wild. And it's at their fingertips. And I think the key that we're trying to build here is if we can get them in the right mindset, then they're going to be able to do great things with it.
Absolutely.
And that's part of this curve, is building that mindset. So Curve that we just introduced to you is going to anchor this podcast. So it might be a curiosity episode. It might be an understanding episode. It might be a little bit of each, but you are going to see the elements of this Curve framework in every episode that we do in this podcast. So what kinds of things are we hoping to do in this podcast?
That's a great question. We are definitely going to have some good guest speakers.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do some deep dives on the Curve principle, like you said. We're going to do some teacher spotlights. We know that there are some amazing things happening with teachers.
Absolutely.
And I want to learn from them just as much.
100%.
Tool spotlights, although we're not going to focus a lot on the tools, because some of the things out there, you learn one, you learn them all. So we want to make sure that it's not about the tool. It's about the framework. It's about the understanding, using your brain. Some conversations I said earlier that you do your research. So I'm excited to see some of the guest speakers that you bring on, because I think it's going to be awesome.
No, that's the thing. If my LinkedIn connections come through, we might have some goodies on here. So that'll be really, really exciting if they come through. But we're going to keep coming back to this. And you said it, I'm going to say it again. AI is a tool. That's at the end of the day, AI is a tool. And so we're not trying to focus on any specific platform, any specific tool. We're focusing on mindsets here, because right now anyone can write a lesson plan in 30 seconds. Anyone can create a quiz in 30 seconds. But the question should be, is it cool that I can create a lesson plan in 30 seconds? Because here's what I fear will happen is, if we can create lesson plans and quizzes in 30 seconds, well, now you're just going to have to create more lesson plans and more quizzes. So how about just redesigning and rethinking the whole thing?
Absolutely.
From the ground up. So
which is the other thing that I want everyone, especially teachers, to recognize, is that you don't have to start over either.
Mm-mm.
You can take your stuff that you already have, throw it into one of the LLMs.
Good job. You nailed it.
and just kind of, change it up.
Yeah.
And it will help. It will help with student engagement. It can help make sure that you're in the year 2026. No longer in the late 1900s.
Yeah. The late I like that. The late 1900s.
When Google started.
I know, right? When
crazy.
Amazon started. No.
But so I think that it's important for teachers to realize too that they don't have to sit down and go to ChatGPT and start from the beginning. Right. They can take things they already have and just kind of, enhance what they do and what they have.
Yes. Enhance. So this Curve framework, it's here to help you make decisions that serve your students. It is not going to tell you, we're not going to tell you what those decisions should be. we may make suggestions. Some of our guests may make suggestions, but we are not telling you that is the way to go. You are the experts. You're the expert of your classroom. Admins, you're the expert of your school building. Superintendents, you're the expert of your entire district. Like, you're the person for your place. So you have to take all of this and match it with what you're doing. Okay. So
Absolutely.
that's how this curve framework definitely fits in there.
Quick disclosure too,
Oh, yeah.
for teachers.
Yeah.
Make sure you know what your guidance from your school district is
Oh.
prior to doing whatever you do.
Yeah. The whole signing up for the thing and just saying, yep, accept the agreement and go on. Yeah. We really need to read those pretty carefully.
Yes.
So yeah, teachers, please, if your school does have, AI in your policy somewhere, make sure you know exactly what it says about what you can and can't do, and more importantly, what you as the teacher are responsible for.
Yes. Yes.
So,
And we also want to make sure that we always stress human in, human out.
oh yes, I did forget to
should
add that in. Yeah.
Always start with you and end with you.
Yes. Human first,
Yes.
human last.
Yes.
Yep. AI can pretty much do anything in between there, but start with your ideas or start with a brainstorm ideas. Have AI help you organize them. Me, I need help organizing a lot. Took a lot to even put this podcast together. So just organize and put together. But you are the one who has the final say on the other side. Right now we're still in a phase right now where the human is accountable.
Mhm.
So copying and pasting what AI says, you are still accountable for that. And we've seen a lot of negative things happen where people just copy and paste from ChatGPT. So always know that you have the last say of what goes out. So
I do have the last say.
you do
So
have the last say.
here is what we want you to do before our next podcast. We want you to pick one letter from Curve, just one. You don't have to do all of them, just pick one, and spend the week noticing when that principle shows up and you're thinking about AI and when it's missing.
It's really we'll call this, I love this buzzword, a metacognitive strategy there.
That's
So-
the buzzword.
Yeah. If you pick like curiosity, notice when you are curious about something that AI can do. And also notice when you shut down that curiosity. There's been many times where I'm like, oh, I wonder if AI can do this. And then I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. This is boring. It's taking too long, or this isn't what I wanted. And I just shut it down and move on to something else, which
Or,
is perfectly acceptable.
Or I'm going down a rabbit hole and I need to stop,
Yeah.
which is perfectly acceptable also.
Yeah, absolutely. I just heard that on a podcast today. Productivity has increased. So the data just came. I of course, don't ask me to name it right now, but it was a stat I heard that kind of was shocking to me, but also not surprising from my own personal experience, is that productivity has increased, but the line between work life and personal life is blurred because I can access AI all the time on my phone.
Right.
So I have done this many times where I'm maybe sitting watching a TV show and an idea pops in my head. Well, I go into AI and I'm like, hey, I got this idea. I want to work it out. Now I'm working, but I'm supposed to be sitting and
Is that why Sunday night I got a, hey, this music is awesome?
yes, that's 100% because I had an
Just
idea
checking.
pop into my head about what the music should be for this podcast. And with AI, I can sit there and mess around and create it. And I did.
You did.
So, but that is the thing. So we're getting more productive, which is great, but the line between our personal life and our work life is getting blurred.
Right.
Because these tools are on our phone. So I can work from my phone whenever I need to.
So the other thing we want you to do
Yeah.
is to make sure that you don't blur those lines
Yeah.
because work-life balance is incredibly important.
Yes.
But yeah, so think about one of those, one of the Curve framework letters and just do it for a week and see how it goes. We will be back in 2 weeks with our first deep dive, an episode all about curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so curious what
Be
it's going to be like.
Be curious, not judgmental. That's my favorite quote from Ted
Oh.
Lasso. It's going to be the main part of the episode. So
Well, including exploration without pressure, because you want to be able to just dive in,
you need to be able to.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, not dive in. You need to be able to delve.
delve in.
You got to use the
Okay.
AI word. Yes. So Until then, 2 weeks from now, remember, AI might be the engine, but you are the engineer. The curve ahead isn't about racing forward, it's about navigating thoughtfully.
Navigating thoughtfully. All right. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you at the next turn.